Good morning everyone, my name is Francisco Rodil and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing the top 5 web development tools by me, Francisco Rodil. So I hope you like and subscribe if you will like the content of this video. So let's get right into it. Let me just share my screen. So there we go. So here is our presentation. Top 5 web development tools, and I hope you can hear me clearly well. And we will start right now. We'll be discussing the different advantages, disadvantages, best used in, and as well as the installation procedure or setup, as well as a simple demonstration of the different web development tools that I have chosen. So first, I choose Visual Studio Code. So if you want to code, of course, we need an IDE or a way to apply our codes, and Visual Studio Code will be the one that is our main tool in creating this idea or dream that we have in our heads when we want to create our different web development apps, programs, or different ideas that goes into our minds and that we want to create. Visual Studio Code will be the way to type that into existence. What is some features of Visual Studio Code? Cross-platform, Visual Studio Code is available in Windows, Mac OS, as well as Linux. So even if you have different operating systems, we can still use same Visual Studio Code, same user interface, same app in itself, just in different platforms, which makes it really good as a way to be able to do programming in different platforms if you have a Mac OS or Linux. IntelliSense is a feature of VS Code. It provides smart completions based on variable types, function definition, and imported modules. What this means is a good autocorrect system in programming. When we want to type commands, functions, if we have the extensions, it will smart autocomplete for us or suggest different functions while you're typing, so that your job will be easier as a programmer, because you will not be dealing with typographical errors or different problems along the way due to the fact that you have mistakenly typed a function in the programming language that you are using, especially in web development. Next is extensible. It offers a vast library of extensions of language support, debugging, themes, and more. Visual Studio Code is an IDE, but it requires extensions for the different type of programming language that you want to use. So it has different extensions that you can download, and language support as well. It's not just English that is being used by programmers. We also have different languages, as well as themes to make it easier on your eyes, as well as dark mode, light mode, as well as debugging integrated itself in Visual Studio Code. Next is integrated terminal. Allows you to execute commands and run scripts and without leaving the editor. So you don't need to go to the command prompt or CMD just to run your codes. You can run it directly on the integrated terminal of the Visual Studio Code. Next is debugging. Built-in debugging tools for various languages with breakpoints, call stacks, and variable inspections. So this means that it already has debugging tools for your programs, especially in web development tools, when you want to check if your code works. Advantages is extensibility. Extensibility meaning that its rich ecosystem of extensions allows the user to tailor the VS Code depending on their needs, so providing different supports for various languages, frameworks, and tools, especially in web development, because there's are different frameworks and tools that we use when we are web developing. Cross-platform. You can use it, of course, on different platforms without changing much, because it still works the same way when you are using it in different platforms. Performance. It's very lightweight and fast when handling large projects. Depends also on your extensions and what kind of projects you're dealing with, but generally on the basic form of VS Code, it's very light and very performative in its basic state. Intuitive user interface. It is very user friendly, easy to navigate and customize. There's lots of documentation online that can teach you how to use VS Code, as well as to understand its user interface. And next, disadvantages. Although it's generally lightweight, as I said, large numbers of extensions or a large project can lead to increased memory consumption, which is can slow it down. marginally. Learning curve, user-friendly, but it takes time for beginners because it's not a one-and-done type of coding platform such as a specific C or a Java programming IDE. It is a all-in-one text editor that requires extensions to create programs depending on your language that you want to program in. The native features is not that good because full-fledged IDEs focus on one programming code, while VS Code requires extensions depending on what you need to do. Certain extensions may rely on external dependencies or specific setup as well outside of VS Code. Let's use in web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's also good with mobile app development. React Native Flutter. It also is good with desktop app development. Electron, which is a cross-platform desktop apps. And full stack development for web dev with extensions both front-end and back-end framework support, as well as framework support for the different web development frameworks. So now let's talk about the installation procedure for VS Code. So it's very simple, and we will take a brief look on how to do this installation for VS Code. So in Google, just type VS Code install, or just VS Code, which will direct you to the website itself of VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Click download right here. You will choose your own operating system if you use Mac or Windows. Use Windows, so let's click download. It will start downloading right here. You may follow this documentation. This is only a brief guide, but you should follow this. Excuse me. This is documentation that will guide you to the setup and get started, as well as a user guide on how to use Visual Studio Code. It's very essential. Go and open this installer and just follow the instructions and click next, and clicking all the check boxes. After installing, go to VS Code and open it up. So now we'll be demonstrating the VS Code. So in demonstration, this is our user interface of Visual Studio Code, and we have here our sidebar, extensions where we can install our different web development languages. If you want to write React, search for it, and it will be here, and just click install. That will install the React framework to your VS Code, which you will be able to design React Now or Bootstrap as well. Straight Bootstrap, and you will see extensions based on Bootstrap. It's very simple, just as long as you follow and read the documentation in your own time. So next, let's now go to the top 2, GitHub. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a version control type of web development tool. It offers Git-based version controls for tracking changes in code. Git meaning it's the command by Git, and Git commands that you can see in online, which you can pull, request, delete different types of code to version control it. GitHub is only the place, is a place where you can store and manage all of that. Tracking changes in code, as well as collaboration. It facilitates teamwork through pull requests, code reviews, and issue tracking. Just like Facebook, it's like a social media platform, but also for your coding and open source programs. Repository management, it allows users to create, manage, and organize repositories. Repositories meaning different container or teams that will use to separate the different kinds of development programs, whether it may be beta version, alpha version, development version, or a release version. This will be in the repository management. Community engagement. It provides a platform for open source contributions and community interaction. So even if anyone wants to help your open source program, they can contribute by this community engagement and fix bug fixes or add features if it's an open source contribution type of GitHub repository. Integration, it integrates with various tool services for VS Code, project management, different types. It integrates well because you can use the GitHub API to connect it to the different tools and services that you use in your programming needs. Advantages, Vast community, many use GitHub. It has huge community support the resources due to its popularity. The collaboration tool is really good for developers because they can use it for a seamless collaboration among developers and teams, whether you're working from home or working in a team within a different country. Visibility and exposure, it provides visibility because the visibility is for open source projects, aiding in contributions and adoptions. Integration ecosystem as well is extensive integration capabilities with various web development tools and services. It will be an all-in-one platform for your different connections with your different developers, systems, tools, and services. Issue tracking is the main goal of GitHub because it's a version control web development tool that you can use, because you will see the different pull requests and the different bug fixes and logs and the different patch notes that the developers are putting in their programs as well as their codes. Some disadvantages is it might be a learning curve because of the version control and Git workflows, which requires command prompt, command line interface interactions, terminal interactions. Private repository is limited as well in the free plans because there's a paid GitHub plan. Depends on the internet. It is a cloud-based service, so it requires internet connection for full functionality. Security concerns is some users may don't want their code to be stored on a third-party platform or shared to the world if they don't want anyone using their codes. But with proper setup, you can avoid all of this. It's best used in open source projects because anyone can contribute due to its collaborative nature. Also great for team projects, so it collaborates and integrates continuous integration, continuous development, and it also integrates well for the CI and CD pipelines for automated software delivery. Version control for individuals is useful as well if you're creating a program and you want to version control it. You can manage your code versions and repositories using GitHub as well. So how to install GitHub and also a demonstration of GitHub. To install GitHub, you only need to go to Google and search for GitHub and just sign up here. Click the sign up and follow the installation procedure to sign up, and then after that search for GitHub download and you will see installation right here on how to download it if you want to install it into the desktop version, but still this will require internet connection. So just follow the instructions right here and you will be able to add an account to GitHub. Also take note of docs.github.com and read all of this. This will take you a very deep understanding of how to use GitHub and how to create your own repository. This is only the bare bones tutorial and just guiding you to the right direction. Just create your account and go to the GitHub. After you created your account, you can click go to the login and just log in your accounts, and then you can connect it to your VS Code and go from there. Just make sure to always read the documentations and finish all of this in the docs.github.com. The next is Figma. Figma is the top 3 choice for our web development tool. So before we use create our codes, of course we need to have a design. Figma will be our tool because it is a design tool which is cloud-based. It allows collaborative designing in real time over the internet. It supports different people working on the same project, just like Canva, Word, Outlook. You can design real time and see the changes real time as well. It is a vector editing. It supports vector graphics, which is similar to Photoshop and popular design software, which uses vectors type of editing, which is a powerful tool because it supports high quality graphical design, especially in front end designs that you want to design. Also supports prototyping, so for interactive prototypes and design systems, you can also do this in Figma with your front end designs. It's multi-platform. You can use it with any browser or any operating systems because it's a cloud-based design tool. Also has a version history, same as GitHub, which tracks version history and allows users to revert to the previous version if you made a problem or someone deleted the entire program, entire design, you can revert it to the previous version. Advantages. So it's real-time collaboration. It enables seamless among designers and team regardless of location, far, near, or out of town. You can still collaborate. Cross-platform, different operating system without compatibility issues. Just works plug and play. Version control, it tracks changes for easy reference and rollback, and prototyping abilities for the different structured prototypes within the same platform. But the most important part is the accessibility anywhere. It is a cloud-based, so it allows anywhere, just have an internet connection just to use this. So it's very easy. You don't need to download anything, but you can download the Figma app, which is still a cloud-based and it's internet, but it's more streamlined to be used in your operating system. So of course, its strength is also its weakness. It requires internet for full functionality. The learning curve may have a learning curve as well for transitioning from other design tools. There's a performance with large files. Performance might not be good with very large or complex design, especially if you have a very low-end computer. This will require a large amount of RAM since it runs on your browser and it's a cloud-based designing tool. So it lacks full offline functionality and may limit usage in areas with poor connectivity. So if you don't have internet, you will not be able to use this properly, and it will not be used reliably, unlike Photoshop, Word, or any other locally available programs for designing. It's best used for collaborative design, prototyping, multi-platform, and small to medium-sized teams, which is the same as its advantages. Just keep on doing designs with your team. You'll be able to use Figma depending on what you need for prototyping. If you have different users using multiple platforms, Figma is also available for that, especially in web development where designing is very crucial and on par with coding it. Designing is really important in web development. So how to install and a simple demonstration of Figma. So go to figma.com. Figma.com is the website of Figma, and go and create an account if you don't have an account, or log in with your Figma account. I use Google. Let's continue with Google Auth, and you will be logged into the Figma site. So we have here a sample project like here. Software engineering project. You can open that project. You can learn more about this by searching for Figma docs. This will help you learn about all the different types of Figma. Just click get started and just follow all of this and explore everything so that you will understand how to use Figma. So basically this is Figma. You can open and see the designs right there, and also you can open the prototype. We'll show the different prototype for the designs, and you can also play the prototype. You can share it with your friends or team members. For that, anyone with the link can edit in the wireframe. You can do this. If you set it up properly, you'll be able to design it nicely, and you'll be able to click all of the buttons. So next, top 4 is React as our web development tool. Okay, for React, its features component-based siya. Utilize a component-based architecture for building user interface. There's a chunk of codes, and there are called components that you can use implement in your code. If you want to be able to create different type of programs or web design tools, it will be component-based. It will have also virtual representation of actual DOM of the web development for better performance. It allows embedding HTML within JavaScript, enhancing component readability. Also have state management, which provides a simple and efficient way to manage application state, and a one-way data binding, which enables unidirectional data flow within components, which makes it very helpful in web development. Reusability is, of course, a product of the component style of React. and as well as a large ecosystem because it boasts an ecosystem of libraries, tools, and community support of the different users of React that you can ask for help when you want to use React in your web development tools. Another disadvantages of React is the boilerplate code. It requires additional libraries for setup for complex features like routing or state management. It's not a one and done setup, but you can find this easily just as long as you ask for help in the community support of React. There's a lot of developers that are willing to help with your problems and guide you with the different guides and documentations available on the internet. Frequent updates and changes might require code-based adjustment. It always gets updated. React is not a static version, and yeah, that's pretty much it with the disadvantages. It's best used in single-page applications, meaning it's ideal for building dynamic interactive web applications that changes only on one page. Large scale is also good for React. Its complex applications that require scalable and maintainable structure is also available to be used for React. So component based we already discussed. Also real-time data apps is good for React and handles real-time updates really well. So how to install and demonstration of React. Of course, Google is your friend. Just search for React download, which will point you to this documentation react.dev. Just follow the instructions, installation, and you will know that you don't need to install anything to play with React. So in this sample React code, which is a component of function greeting, we are calling the greeting named world. You can edit this and this will reflect here. So this is the React style. So if you want to add React to locally, you can download this HTML page and try to run it in your desktop. So in VS Code, when you want to install React, just go to the extensions and type React, and this will be able to put the React extension for quick access to the React website, in which you can then refer to the documentation on how to use React. Okay, next we have Bootstrap. So what is Bootstrap? It is a responsive grid system that provides a flexible grid layout for responsive design. So it provides designs already that you can use, which is standardized already by the Bootstrap documentation, which is pre-style components. It offers collection of pre-style UI components like buttons, forms, navigation bars, etc. So you can already copy and paste the different buttons, forms that you will no longer code it from scratch or design it from scratch as well. The CSS, Flexbox, and grid support. It utilizes modern CSS features for layout and positioning. Customization as well. It allows customization through variables, mix-ins and themes. And browser compatibility ensures compatibility across various browsers and devices. It's rapid development as well in the advantages. Speeds up development because you are using ready-to-use components and a responsive grid system. Consistency, visual consistency, because you're using components that are standardized and ready to use. You are creating designs that are predefined styles and components that you can use to make your job easier, as well as to make your design aesthetically pleasing and consistent. Responsiveness facilitates easy creation of mobile-first responsive design, and especially in our time now, responsiveness is a key feature, especially in mobile, desktop, and tablet sizes that uses our websites and web development tool that we need to consider when we want to make a responsive design, which is a requirement in our time now. Documentation and community, abundant documentation, and a large community support and resources. Just search in Google and you will find anything that you need, any documentation, and helpful developers as well in the community. Cross-platform, cross-browser compatibility ensures very consistent appearance and functionality across different browsers. So Bootstrap, since it's component, you can have designs that are very consistent. That's the word of Bootstrap. Disadvantages: it's very generic because when you're having default Bootstrap style, it will have similar appearance because it's the same, it's the component. But you don't always need to use the default Bootstrap style. There's a lot of style based on Bootstrap that you can just find and search for the in the internet. Manatee and others is one popular example. File size, complete Bootstrap package can be relatively large, impacting load times. You also need to understand Bootstrap classes and components to efficiently use it. And complexity is customizing the default styles might require significant effort and CSS knowledge if you want to customize even further the component designs of Bootstrap. It's best used in prototyping because you are creating designs that are minimum viable products for quickly prototyping. Ideal for projects as well for mobile first responsive design. Small to medium size projects. It's well suited project with limited design resources or time constraints. And multi-page websites, which is useful for creating consistent designs across multiple pages or sections of a website using Bootstrap. So let's move on to the installation procedure of Bootstrap. For Bootstrap, you can just go to Google Chrome and search for Bootstrap documentation as well as Bootstrap download. In the Bootstrap documentation, I suggest you read all of this, and understand and learn it clearly to be able to use Bootstrap fast. So in the download Bootstrap version website, you can click download the compiled CSS and JS and ready to use compiled code for Bootstrap 4.0 to easily drop in your project. But it includes the compiled minified CSS bundles, compiled and minified JavaScript plugins. So if you want to see W3 Schools, if you want to see a demonstration of how it works, you can see here in W3 Schools we have here the different components of Bootstrap that is showing you the designs, and right here it's a pagination, grid system, typography, forms and such. Bootstrap designs as well, you can search. You can see some different examples of Bootstrap designs right here, and some themes that you can see right here, and examples and code snippets, headers and such. You can see and explore here. So that's about it for Bootstrap. It's a very good tool for using it to different kinds of tools that you want to be able to have a component design for prototyping and such. So that's all for me. Thank you very much for listening, and those are the different web development tools that I am sharing to you guys, and I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you stay more for your more informative videos regarding web development. Thank you everyone, and thanks for watching.